Many thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. So ironically, this has been hands down the most requested video topic over the course of the last 2 months. And what's so ironic about this purchase is that it's not a new camera or lens, it's not a new tripod, it's not a new camera bag or ball head or any of the typical landscape photography stuff. But what it is an empty cargo van that I've been working towards converting into a mobile landscape photography studio over the course of the last 2 months. And this is something that I have been searching for and saving for and dreaming about ever since the beginning of last year. And a couple of months ago, I finally found the perfect van and I ended up purchasing it. And I want to preface this by saying that I am by no means what I would consider to be a very handy person. I know just enough to get by. But what I am good at is just simply figuring things out. And over the past 2 months since I purchased the van, each weekend I have been tackling a specific project and kind of documenting the progress on my Instagram stories. And my goal from a timeline perspective is to have the van completed by the beginning of fall next year. Now, I know that might seem like an unusually long amount of time to convert a van, but I've got a couple constraints working against me. One, I can't work on the van 7 days a week. I only have a couple days a week that I can actually work on the van. And the second portion of that is a financial constraint. Just purchasing the van was very expensive for me, and all the components required to convert a van are extremely expensive. So I can't just go out and purchase everything all at once. So I'm gonna have to kind of chip away at it over time. But I think having a goal set for myself to have everything finished by the fall of next year is a very reasonable expectation. I think that could definitely happen. So I want to show you what I've done in the van so far. I want to show you what I've done outside of the van so far. And I want to mention real quick some of the things that are most important for me. So I've taken the van on a couple trips so far. And one of the reasons why I could only go away a couple of days at a time, or really one day sometimes, is because of a lack of power in the van. There is one electrical outlet that only works when the van is running. But, with landscape photography or any kind of photography, we got a lot of things to charge. I need to charge my iPad, my laptop, lots of different batteries and this and that. So power is of the utmost importance to myself. I want to have 2 to 3 100 amp hour batteries in the van in addition to the house battery that's already in the vehicle. I want to have solar panels on top. I think I'm going to get 2 160 watt solar panels that can also charge those batteries. So having enough power in the van is critically important for myself. I want to have kind of a gear area, like a gear locker, where I can easily put stuff, tripods and cameras and camera bags and things like that to keep everything very organized. I want it to be a very well-lit studio. And because I mentioned earlier, kind of like a mobile photography studio, because I want to be able to film videos in here from time to time as well. Maybe not an entire video like this, but a portion of a video. And being able to have it well lit, hopefully it's all right, it's somewhat decently lit right now. And I'm hoping the audio sounds good as well, because I have put a lot of effort into insulating the van. I want the van to be very comfortable, obviously. I want it to be as cool as possible in the warmer months. I want it to be warm as possible in the colder months. And I want it to be almost soundproof. So I'm hoping the audio sounds okay right now, but being able to keep the sounds that I want in the van, inside of the van, and being able to kind of keep all the exterior noise to a minimum is extremely important to myself as well. But I want it to be, have plenty of electrical outlets, but plenty of different places to store things like your phone or any type of camera or computer electronics. I want it to have multiple workstations. So this is actually the very first workstation right here. I put this passenger chair on a swivel so it can rotate around 360 degrees, which is really cool. And I actually built this tabletop right here, which moves around, which is super cool. And I've actually never built anything with wood before, so this is my first go at it. So I'm pretty excited with the way that it turned out. But this is mounted on a Lagoon table, so it's all fully customizable. It rotates in 100 different directions. And when you're not using the table, the whole thing comes off. So, which is pretty cool as well. So I want to have a second workstation as well, probably somewhere over here. I want the van to have Wi-Fi. That's super important because I want to be able to upload videos while I'm on the road. And of course, just the obvious things: kitchen, a sink, a stove, a cooktop, a toilet. What else? Oh, a refrigerator and a freezer. So just kind of the common things that you would find in a camper van. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for from an end result. But let me go ahead and show you some of the things that I have already done on the van. I'm going to first start with the inside, and then I'll walk you around the outside of the vehicle. All right, so let's zoom this out a little bit. So this is a lot of that insulation that I was telling you about. This is something called Thinsulate that I have put everywhere. I didn't put any right here because I plan on cutting this entire window out and replacing it with I think they're called a C.R. Lawrence window, which is a very scary project to tackle, but it is something that I think I can probably handle. At least I really hope I can. But I've been putting a lot of this Thinsulate material everywhere throughout the van, as you can see what it looks like right there, and literally stuffing it in every single crevice everywhere throughout the actual vehicle. So that definitely took a ton of effort, but I put a lot of this sound deadening material all over the place. I mean, it is everywhere. It's on the ceiling. There's actually some factories sound deadening already on the vehicle, but I put it all over the place. It's all beneath the floor. I put a lot of this insulation right here on the bare metal areas as well, just to try and keep these metal surfaces get extremely cold on a cold night. And as far as the floor is concerned, I just wrapped this up this past weekend. If you're following along on the Instagram stories, you probably would have already seen this. Let me just move the tripod. And actually, let me go to the outside of the vehicle so I can show this to you real quick. So do this. Bear with me, this door's a little squeaky. I gotta get that resolved. Oh, it is, sorry, extremely bright out here. Turn this down. All right, so I'm gonna go over here to the back of the vehicle. Open this up here. Sorry, it's very bright, but let me turn this around now. And I'll post some photos on the screen right now as well, some kind of before and after photos, just so you can take a look at everything. Let me open this door as well here. So I ended up using quite a few different layers of insulation. I put some type of mini cell foam, some XBS foam underneath this, and then I put the actual Baltic birch subfloor underneath here as well. And then I kind of finished it all off with this vinyl plank flooring, which is really nice. I'm really excited with the way that this turned out. And I ended up kind of cutting it all in around the wheel wells right through there. My OCD was kicking in, and I needed that to be perfect as well. And I ended up finishing it all off with this, I think it's 1.5 inch aluminum. And I think that really finished the entire thing off really well. But it's a nice sturdy floor, super solid. It should be well insulated as well, and it looks great. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. But that's really what I've spent a lot of time on the inside of the floor. Let me just turn you around again. It's just doing a lot of work on the insulation and on the flooring of the actual vehicle. So a lot of work went into that. This just came in the other day, which is this Max Air fan right here. I'm just gonna spin this around so you can see exactly what it is. But this is gonna be great for allowing, I guess, proper ventilation in the vehicle, so it can pull air in from the outside. It can also work as an exhaust. It's got 10 different speeds. And I'm gonna end up mounting it to the ceiling there, and I think I'm gonna do it myself too. I have to actually cut a 14-inch by 14-inch hole in the sheet metal in the ceiling, but I've watched about 50 different videos on how to do it, and it seems fairly straightforward. So I do think I'm gonna try and attempt to do that myself, possibly next weekend, and put this fan in, because being able to circulate air in the van is of the utmost importance. If you stay in a van long enough with the door sealed, it gets a very sticky, almost kind of a humid, muggy feeling. So being able to circulate air throughout the vehicle is very important as well. And here's that Lagoon table I was talking about. This thing is really, really cool because you can basically take the entire thing off right through here off this mounting bracket when you're not using the actual table, and the whole thing comes off, and you can kind of store it wherever you want. And it swivels in all these different directions, which I think is absolutely fantastic. It allows for a lot of different customization. It's not completely locked into one area, which I think is super cool. And I probably will end up getting another one of these Lagoon tables to mount on an area over here. So let me show you the exact kind of layout of as far as what I'm envisioning the entire van to look like. So over in this area right through here, I would like to have another little tiny little sitting area here, and then the actual stove on this side. And then over here, where this little cutout is right here, I kind of built the floor out. There's really nothing underneath the floor right here. I'll probably need to support that somehow. But I want to put the actual sink right here, maybe an additional cooktop on this side. And one thing that's really cool about this Lagoon table, can I do this on camera, is that it'll actually rotate out like this and kind of serve as an additional kind of cooktop right here while you're actually using the sink on this side as well. So it's kind of multi-purpose. And I want to put a water tank on this side right here that goes over this wheel well. I figured that would be in a good proximity to the sink on this side. And then probably the battery compartment, this looks awfully bright, on this side over here behind that wheel well. And in the bed on this side here, and I'm not 100% sure what type of bed I want to do just yet, whether it's going to be a platform style bed that is always in place, or maybe a bench seat that kind of converts into a bed. I'm not 100% certain just yet. Now, as far as the actual outside of the vehicle is concerned, let me just take you out here. So the van I ended up going with is a 144-inch four-wheel drive Sprinter van. Just turn this down a little bit. And let me just shut this door here. I'll show you some of the things that I have done so far. I wanted to get a four-wheel drive van. Is that overexposed? A little bit. Mainly because, not because I want to do a whole lot of off-roading with this van, but I want to be able to have the peace of mind, and I don't want to be limited in going to certain areas because I'm afraid I might not be able to get out. So having four-wheel drive was pretty important to me. Now, I definitely wanted to get larger tires for it. I think that was actually the very first thing that I did, and I'll show you the tires that I went with right here. These are the I think they're called the Black Rhino, they're too dark, Black Rhino Arsenal wheels. And I ended up getting the 255 R17, 255/75 R17. I think that's what these are. And I really like the way that these look right here. Super rugged looking tires, and I think the rims look a lot better as well. I'll put a photo of what the van looked like originally. Had these just real tiny, kind of like little donut looking tires on here, and it just it wasn't quite the aesthetic that I was looking for, so I definitely wanted to upgrade these as fast as possible. I also put these kind of fender guards, I think they're, or fender armor is what they call it. I think these are from Terra Wagon, I believe, because I was already starting to get little chips everywhere because these wheels extend out beyond the actual van itself. So I wanted to make sure that I had that taken care of. And then on the back here, I added a full-size spare tire right here, which I think looks great. And this kind of a ladder spare tire carrier from Owl Vans, I believe. And I actually installed this myself, which is probably the biggest project I did in the very beginning. And I had to actually, I don't know if you can see that right there, I had to drill a hole through the actual van to mount this, which was extremely nerve-wracking, but I did it. But what's really cool is that the whole thing opens up with the actual door. It's very heavy, but it all opens up, which is really cool. So I like that. But overall, I do love the look of the van. It's got a little step rack down there, which makes it really easy to get up to because the van sits extremely tall. Not sure if you can actually see it right through there. But I wanted to get the 144-inch versus the 170-inch, or I should say length, mainly because the 170, I think it would just be a little bit difficult for me to kind of drive around because this is my daily driver. I take this van everywhere I go. If I'm just running up to the grocery store, I'm taking my van. So having something that's really easy to maneuver in kind of a congested area and easy to park, that was of the utmost importance to myself. So, but yeah, overall, I'm super excited about the overall project with the van. Let me take you back inside here because starting to get a little bit more road noise or traffic noise. So I'm super excited with the way that everything has turned out with the van. I know maybe it might not seem like a lot has been done, but it took a lot of work just to get to this point. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I'm learning a lot. I think the best way for a person to grow is to get outside of your comfort zone, and this is hands down outside of my comfort zone. I'm using tools I've never even heard of, and I've definitely never used in my entire life. So it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it so far. I'm looking forward to the next 10 months as far as the build out goes. And if you noticed anything in the video that I'm doing wrong, or if you have any advice or any tips or any kind of information as far as what I might be forgetting about, or like I said, what I might be doing wrong, please leave those in the comment section below. I'd love to hear back from you. And if this type of video is interesting to you, please let me know that as well. I'm not going to make a video on the van every month, but I was thinking maybe a quarterly update, so maybe a 4-part video series over the course of the next year. If that's of interest to you, please let me know that as well, and I will make sure that that happens. And any kind of feedback that you have, I would really, really appreciate it. So I definitely don't know exactly what I'm doing. I'm literally figuring it out every single weekend, so any help is greatly appreciated. And before I do wrap up this week's video, I do want to say a big thanks again to the sponsor of the video, which is Squarespace, who I use for all of my website and my e-commerce needs. Squarespace provides a dynamic and attractive online platform to create your website. You can display your photography using Squarespace's professional portfolio designs and customize the layout and look and feel of your gallery just so you can make it your own. With Squarespace's traffic overview feature, you can track trends in page visits and views to better optimize your content, and you can even grow and engage with your customers with Squarespace's email campaign tools, which will enable you to create engaging emails that match your website with your products or blog post and logo, just so your messaging remains consistent. So if you're looking to start a new website or possibly upgrade your current website, check out squarespace.com/Mark Denney for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. So I really do hope you enjoyed this week's video, something a little bit different, but it seemed to be a very highly requested topic, and I wanted to make sure that video happened. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, if you could, give it that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. And as always, I really do appreciate you watching this week's video, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Bye.